It was November 15th, 1884. Inside the grand halls of Berlin, Germany's Iron Chancellor Otto von Bismarck welcomed delegates from 14 nations, including Henry Morton Stanley from the United States. Not one of the delegates was from Africa. Yet, over the next 100 days, these men would redraw the map of that entire continent, from the comfort of the capital of Europe's newest empire. The world would remember it as the Berlin Conference. But why did Bismarck call this meeting? And how have the decisions made there impacted Africa and the world ever since? By the second half of the 19th century, European powers held only a handful of territories in Africa. Then began what is known as the Scramble for Africa, as these powers raced for territory and resources across the continent, including Belgium, whose king, Leopold II, staked a personal claim to the Congo. Germany had begun competing with Europe's old guard for territory since it became a unified nation in 1871. Jealousy and suspicion grew. To avoid open war, Bismarck, a man who disliked colonialism but loved order, called everyone to the table. Four powers dominated the discussions: Britain, France, Germany, and Portugal. Their goal? To make the scramble for Africa seem civilized. Inside Bismarck's official residence, ambassadors debated how to divide a land few of them had ever seen. They agreed on free trade along the Congo and Niger rivers and pledged to fully end the slave trade. They also introduced a new rule, the principle of effective occupation, meaning no nation could claim land without physically controlling it. This was all done, of course, without any input from the various peoples of Africa directly impacted by these measures. But it all sounded reasonable to these world powers. In practice, however, it put colonization into light speed. Within 5 years, 90% of Africa was under European rule. The conference ended in February 1885 with a signed General Act. Africans were promised protection and progress. Instead, borders were drawn without regard for kingdoms, languages, and ethnic groups. Lines still visible today. As Tanzania's former president Julius Nyerere later said, quote, "We have artificial nations carved out at the Berlin Conference, and today we are struggling to build them into stable societies." End quote. Ultimately, the conference also failed to prevent conflict between these world powers, as their rivalries in Africa helped push them to world war less than 30 years later. The echoes of that room in Berlin still shape Africa and the world today. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1777, the Continental Congress adopts the Articles of Confederation, the first U.S. Constitution. In 1864, Union General Sherman begins his brutal march to the sea through Georgia. In 1867, the world's first stock ticker is unveiled in New York City, revolutionizing the stock market. In 1956, Elvis Presley's first film, the Civil War drama Love Me Tender, premieres in New York City. In 1993, Spears, Timberlake, Aguilera, and Gosling joined the cast of the Mickey Mouse Club. In 2017, Da Vinci's Salvator Mundi sells for $450 million to Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince. In 2022, the United Nations announces that the world's population has reached 8 billion. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. Which Inca emperor was overthrown by Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro? Viracocha, Huáscar, Pachacuti, or Atahualpa? Liked learning about the Berlin Conference? Then you'll also enjoy this one about another event from the age of imperialism, the overthrow of Hawaii's Queen Liliuokalani. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.